In this presentation, I will introduce the framework Learning from Stories, or as we say back home in the Netherlands, Leren van verhalen, or as you say here in Norway, with a little help from my friend Google, Læring af vertellinger. Well, it's a narrative approach to experience-based learning. My name is Sander Berendsen. I am teacher, educator and lecturer researcher at Graafschap College and Han University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. And it's truly an honor to share this framework with you today. And let me be clear from the start. This is not about storytelling in the theatrical sense. It's not a fairy tale with a perfect ending. It's about real personal and professional life with setbacks and successes. It's about real meaningful experiences from your students, but also from yourself, your family or colleagues, because in my opinion, everyone is learning. A child from 10 years old and, for example, my mother, she's 84. I call it framework because it's not a fixed method with strict steps you have to follow. It's a mindset, a way of working, a clear structure that connects meaningful experiences, reflection, dialogue, learning and development. In this framework, Leren van verhalen, learning from stories, the reflection steps are elements, a sort of building blocks that unfold over time. The reflection process may move quickly, but it doesn't have to. Insight and awareness often needs time. Learning, especially in vocational education and training, is not about simply giving you answers. It starts with real meaningful experiences, moments that trigger something in you, pride, frustration, doubt or energy. And those emotions matter because they show you what is important to you. And maybe take a moment to ask yourself, what really matters to me? Instead of reducing reflection in schools to a written assignment, we explore experiences as lived stories. It can start with something very small, a simple question. Hey, tell me, what happened? How did it feel? What does it say about you? What are you good at? What do you enjoy? And what are you willing to make an effort for? And the core is, you start always with the learner's story. You look back at an experience, you become aware of its meaning, you gain insight, and from that insight you choose your next step. And that doesn't happen automatically. It requires good guidance from teachers. And that is a continuous process. It is a personal process and a unique process. And you remain the author of your own development. So the core is experience, meaning, insight, and action. Let's start with the lemniscate, the infinity symbol. And this figure, used in career dialogues, forms the foundation of the framework. As a symbol for infinity, it represents a continuous process of learning and development, because learning is not limited to schools. We learn everywhere, at home, in communities, churches, in our free time, in clubs and in everyday life. And in my research, I asked some students where they had learned most meaningfully, and they mentioned everything except school. Let's take a closer look at what we mean by meaningful reflection. A meaningful experience or a meaningful story means that emotions are connected to the experiences or the story. The green figure in the framework represents success experiences. Experiences that makes you feel happy, proud or energized. The red figure represents experiences that create tension, require effort or feel uncomfortable or unpleasant. And both emotions can be powerful triggers for meaningful learning, where you ask yourself, how can I do this better or differently next time? When we look back at a meaningful story or experience, we slow down for a moment. We really try to pay attention. The most important thing here is listening, not to respond, but to understand. We don't rush to judge or analyze right away. Instead, we first focus on what actually happened. What were the facts? What did you see or hear? Then we look at the feelings involved. How did it feel in that moment? What did it do to you? And finally, we ask ourselves, do I recognize this kind of behavior or the success experience somewhere else? maybe in another situation, another group, or another context. It's all about understanding before evaluating, listening first, judging later. In learning from stories, or Leren of verhalen, the dialogue is seen as a way of talking that is based on equality, appreciation, and holding back judgment. It means meeting each other as equals and really paying attention to the other person's story. Unlike a monologue, where one person does most of the talking, the dialogue is a two-way conversation. Both people listen, ask questions, and learn from each other. Because of this equality, stories can be shared more openly and new insights can grow. It's not about convincing or teaching the other person, but about understanding and making meaning together. In this approach, reflection is not just thinking back on something that happened. It's about becoming aware of what that experience says about you. You look back on the moment, you notice the emotions you felt, and you start to see how those feelings connect to your own patterns and actions. This process helps you gain new insights. Gregory Bateson's levels help to make this deeper reflection more concrete. The model shows that insights can happen on different levels. The level of environment, where am I? Behavior, what am I doing? Knowledge and skills, what can I do? Beliefs, what do I believe or think? Identity, who am I? And purpose, what do I stand for? And the higher levels, identity and purpose, are often less visible, but that's exactly where long-term sustainable growth really begins. When you consciously explore these levels, reflection moves from just evaluating what happened to truly understanding yourself and making real meaning out of the experience. The element of looking ahead is about taking the next step based on your insights. In this approach, reflection is not the end. It leads to a choice, a plan, or a clear action. It doesn't have to be big. Small, focused steps often leads to steady, lasting growth. At the same time, it's okay not to decide right away. Sometimes choosing not to change anything yet or giving yourself time is a strong choice too. Looking ahead is not only about action, it's about ownership. This kind of choice requires good guidance. Scaffolding is a method that fits well here. It offers step-by-step support without taking over the process. The learner stays in control while the guidance provides structure, focus, and the right questions. As confidence grows, the support slowly fades. In that way, reflection moves from simply looking back at what happened to truly understanding yourself and giving real meaning to the experience, and turning that meaning into intentional action. The insights you have gained can be processed and made visible in different ways. This does not have to be done in one fixed format or through a standard written report. Multiple intelligence is not scientific proof of different types of intelligence, but it can serve as a helpful framework to vary the ways in which insights are processed or shared. One person may choose a podcast or a written story, another may work with images or photography, whilst someone else may reflect while walking or use music, dialogue, or a mind map to give meaning to what has been learned. Choosing a forum that truly fits you helps to anchor insights more strongly. At the same time, good guidance also means encouraging learners to explore other forums. Stepping outside a preferred format can open up new perspectives. When insights are consciously captured and preserved, they can grow with proper guidance into a coherent and meaningful portfolio that shows development over time in thinking, feeling, and acting. I hope this presentation has given you a clear picture of learning from stories. Thank you for listening, and I hope that we can make learning and development a truly meaningful process.